What's up, everybody? This is DJ Lionhead, and this is the Support Your Boy podcast. We got a great guest today. We have a podcaster, guys. Finally have another podcaster here that we can get some information about. He has a podcast I've heard recently about called In the Clouds. It's a podcast that has interesting information. I can see him growing bigger and better. And this is the one and only Fabian Sanchez. Okay. In the Clouds podcast, man. I like what I heard. I like what you did on Mr. Lewis's podcast, and I heard you were talking about consistency on your own conversations. Can you elaborate a little bit about what that was about?
So, first of all, thank you for the introduction. That was very kind words. I don't know if I deserve that introduction yet, but we're getting there. So, thank you for that. But yeah, man, consistency has been a big struggle. We're all good, technically.
Yeah.
So, consistency for me has been super hard. I mean, I started podcasting about, I want to say 4 years ago. I believe I started in 2020. I might have done one in 2019 because I was doing a lot of YouTube back in the day. I was doing YouTube during high school days. I was me and my friends would do dumb challenges, whatever was trending at the time. We would go outside and mess with people, say jokes, and trying to get a laugh. But we weren't really consistent with it. We were doing 1, 2, 3 videos a year. So when I graduated, I was like, man, what do I really want to do? Like, do I want to go to school for this? Do I want to work a job? And I just started working right away, but I knew I had to do something for myself. So I started doing podcasts, kind of like just fun podcasts, just talking with the camera, just, expressing how I felt that day. If I had a friend that had some time, he would hop on the podcast. And it was just, just to have fun at first. And I fell off of it. It started becoming like this thing where it was like, oh, okay, if I could get this podcast out maybe this month, then that's a win for me.
Right.
And so I started kind of doing like that. And I started doing like every 3 months, I'd release a podcast. And so I was like, man, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing with this. Like, this feels like something that I really enjoy doing. It's like I have a passion for this, but I'm not putting my full effort into it. I'm just kind of like, okay, well, hopefully this works out maybe one day. But it's like I wasn't putting that much effort into it. So finally, I started, just growing as a person. I'm pretty young. I'm only 22 right now. So, yeah.
Wow, I thought you were a whole lot older.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I mean, just kind of like with how I kind of act sometimes, kind of talk. My looks, especially the beard, it kind of gives me an older look. But I'm a young man. I'm still learning, growing
That's dope.
I'm still growing every day. And so that's really what the In the Clouds podcast was. Like, this isn't I'm trying to motivate people or I'm trying to help people. This is just my journey growing up as a person. This is me becoming me. And so it's been, different eras of me for sure. I used to be this, I didn't give a fuck about whoever was, listening. I didn't care about, what the next person thought or all this stuff, which I still kind of don't. But I became more aware of, okay, this is what I have to be in order to achieve what I want. I can't just be this person that doesn't care about anything, that has all this freedom in the world. I have to dedicate myself to something, and I have to grind at something for me to get better at it.
Right.
And so that's what I wrote in the description, the Spotify description. That's what consistency. That's what I wanted to start seeing. I needed to start seeing that so that I could complete that description that I really wanted to be.
Yeah, when I first heard of In the Clouds, I'm thinking, okay, this is a weed podcast. Yeah. This is gonna be dope. I want to see this. You know what I mean? That was my first impression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the In the Clouds, yeah, of course, it just sounds like, we're smoking, we're in the clouds, which without a doubt, that has to, it has something to do with it. For sure, I started smoking pretty young, and, I've always been a little stoner. I think that was my group in high school. I was always the potheads, ditching, smoking in the bathroom, all that stuff. But when I started getting older, you get older, you start trying other stuff. And one time, me and my friends, we decided to take shrooms.
Okay.
So we started to get, we decided to get deep that day. And so it was me and 3 friends, and I don't remember if it was the first or second time I took shrooms, but I remember one of the times, it was a great time, as always. We go to the lake, we have a good time with friends. And after, we were on the ride home, and I was just there, like, on the come down, and just kind of looking out the window, and just thinking about life, after a shroom trip, you kind of start thinking about where you're at. And so I started looking, I was like, man, I was just looking at the clouds, and I was like, something like I connected. I know it sounds like some spiritual shenanigans, I don't know, but it really, like, I felt like, man, that's where I want to be right now. I want to be in the clouds where you're not worried about what anyone else is saying. You're not worried about any other person's expectations, any person's words. You're just worried about you. You're just doing what you're doing. And that's something that I resonated with Mr. Lewis. Like, it almost felt when he said God mode, when he said his description of God mode, I was like, man, that's what in the clouds means for me. It means being in that higher state of consciousness, that higher state of not just being you at your best, you at your, it might not look the prettiest, it might not, be the best time of your life, but you're still grinding at it, you're still going at it, you're still going at what you love, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be content creation, it doesn't have to be this, this creating something artistically. It could be plumbing, it could be construction, it could be, building something, whatever it is that you like, as long as you're grinding it and you're, doing it at the best of your ability, then that's what In the Clouds meant to me.
That's dope. That's dope. So, what do you see as the future of In the Clouds? Like, where do you want to make sure the projection goes towards?
Man, that's something that I ask myself every day. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just love doing this, and I love talking to people. Like, it's something in me that when I get around people, I'm not really such a social person. Like, I can't just go up to people and just start talking to them. Right. But when I start talking to someone, when I get to know someone just one-to-one, I start going deep and I start asking questions. I start really conversational. Like, I'm not gonna just go up to a random person, but when I start talking and getting to know them, then that's when my real self comes out. When I could talk about my problems, where I could relate with them, where I could ask them questions and figure out stuff and learn stuff from them. Because that's the biggest thing. Like, as a young man, I think a lot of growing up is getting the knowledge of, it's LJ, funny enough, tells me about it. Knowledge itself. Shout out LJ the hippie.
Hey, shout out LJ.
Shout out LJ. He let me know the knowledge is the first step. I kind of already knew about it of that realm, but I really started like learning about it. I was like, yeah, this is what I need to do. I need to gain these experiences, gain this knowledge from people that can help me grow, so that I could grow not just myself but the podcast. And so, like I said, I really don't know the direction of the podcast. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do myself, because I have so many passions. I have so many ideas in my head that it's like, sometimes it's so overwhelming that I don't know what to just focus on one thing.
Man, you sound like me.
Yeah, man.
You sound like me. Let me ask you this. As a podcaster, I never really get to ask podcasters this. How do you choose your guest when you decide to have a guest? Is it more like, this person is interesting, or is it more like, I want to get more information about this kind of artist, or I'm going to get more into this guy knows a lot of education, so I want to get more guests with education? Which direction do you like, or is it, what is your way of how you like to bring on guests?
Well, bringing on guests, I mean, I feel like every new podcaster's challenge, right? You're getting people to talk to you, because who's going to want to sit with you in front of a camera and just talk in the room? It's kind of hard to get people to do that. So, for me right now at this moment, I'm just, whoever wants to talk, whoever wants to get on here and if they have something to say, if they have a passion, if they're just freaking, sitting at home all day watching Call of Duty, whatever, then I don't want that person on my podcast. But if this person is, putting in some work, whatever it is, if it could be, it could be an artist, it could be someone who does videography. One of my good friends, one of my best friends from high school, he does videography. Had him on the podcast a few times. One of my friends is a barber. We talked about that for a while. It was just getting somebody with a passion, somebody that has something to say. Because I feel like anybody you sit down and you talk with, they have something to say.
Oh yeah.
People want to talk. People want to hear. People want to get listened to. So So as long as you're just right there in front of them and you're just, kind of having a conversation, asking a few questions, then they're gonna talk for themselves. They're gonna get it going themselves.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
It's usually I don't ask questions about like hot topics and news.
Okay.
I like to get into the mind of the person of like whatever their artistic or whatever things they do.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
But this one I have to ask because I want to know. Give me a second. I wrote it down here.
I thought you were about to bring up the LeAngelo Ball song.
No. So this deals with a really hot topic that's going on now. And here's a good question. What do you think is spreading faster? The fires in LA or the misinformation about the fires in LA?
Well, see, this is something that I kind of... This is the reason I don't like to talk on topics like this when I do podcasts, just because I don't inform myself. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not reading the news, not necessarily because I'm too lazy to read the news or whatever. It's just I don't know what to trust. I don't know what is gonna tell me the right information. So it's like, do I even want to go to that point? Yeah, I could, take the time and figure out, what side is saying what, what's the common information between them. But really, if it's not affecting me, if it's not affecting my grind, if it's not affecting what I'm doing, then I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into news. Like, I feel sorrow. I feel sorry for those people that are losing their homes. They're losing some losing their lives. But man, I don't know,
who to trust when it comes to information.
Who to trust, right? That's the hardest part. It's like, I don't know if I should trust what they're saying to me. So I'm not even going to really go into that world. I don't want to get into it.
I kind of agree with you because, a lot of people, even me when I was younger, I trusted CNN. And we all know that they've lied. Same thing, people might trust Fox.
Yeah.
And they lie. So, and those people really believe, and those are the trusted places to get your news.
Yeah.
And we've been proven that a lot of times they do whatever brings the money in.
Exactly. It's all about the clicks. It's all about what's going to get the next person to click on the article, click on, whatever it is nowadays. Who's watching TV? Like, who's sitting down watching the news on TV? It's like, you'd rather go on Netflix and watch freaking Mike Tyson get beat up by Jake Paul instead. It's like, no one's on the TV no more.
Well, let's get back into the podcasting world here. All right. Okay, let's play a little small game called Let's Make a Tutorial.
Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to have Fabian give us a tutorial of just 3 steps of do's and don'ts when coming on to In the Clouds podcast.
In the Clouds podcast?
Yeah, they've gone with your podcast. What are 3 things that guest is a do, and what 3 things that's a no-no?
Ooh. Okay, 3 things that are a do. Okay. Do feel comfortable. That's what I always want. I always want the person to feel like they're welcome, that they're not, they're not on here for like an interview. Sometimes you feel like when you're podcasting, you're doing an interview. Well, this kind of interview right now, but it's like I don't want it to be like this is some crazy thing. It's like, we're here to have a conversation. We're here to have fun. We're here to talk about, dumb stuff. So don't take it too seriously. Be comfortable. Another do, ramble. I want you to ramble. I don't care what you're rambling about, because sometimes you try to fill silence, and sometimes those are the funniest moments when you have silence and no one's talking, and then someone says something dumb, someone stutters or something, and now the whole room is laughing. Yeah. So don't be scared to ramble on. Don't be scared to let your feelings be known. I'm not gonna be like, oh man, cut that out. We're not talking about that. and do stay in the clouds.
There you go.
I love to get a little elevated when the guest comes in. Not everyone is down with it, but whoever is, I like to get a little joy. And then don'ts. Damn, that's a hard question because I let my podcast guests do whatever the hell they want, as long as they're not freaking shooting something up. Then you're good, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that mean, as a don't, if I come over to your podcast, I can just basically say, hey, I just want to go ahead and talk to you, but I really want to talk about this bitch ass motherfucking Earl. And start going off on you. You start just basically, just hating on somebody and talking hella shit for 25 minutes. Yeah. Is that a don't? Or
that's a for sure don't. That's a don't for human connections. I don't want people like that around me. I don't want. I fall victim to it all the time. You talk mess a little bit just because it's part of natural human, tendencies. Mm-hmm. But I don't want that shit around me. I don't want people talking mess. I don't want to hear about the other person's business, about what happened with you and him. That person didn't do nothing to me. You're not doing nothing to me. So as long as we're both getting along, I don't care about that other guy's business, about what he did. He could have been having a bad day. That's what I always tell people too, is don't, first impressions are a big thing, right? Mm-hmm. You meet someone, the first thing you see of them, that's what you're going to base it off of. But don't judge everyone just off of one interaction, man. It's sometimes people are having bad days, bad months, bad weeks. You don't know what someone else is going through. So, cut them a little slack. Don't take them to the heart, just take it for what it was. Try to have another conversation, and then, all right, this person's being a dickhead. Get him out of here. I'm not talking to them. I'm not keeping them in my life.
There's one I saw. This is, to me, a big don't. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's for you. This guy, he got on a podcast strictly to street politic and say fuck the other side.
Oh yeah. No.
He's like, oh hell
no. I mean, if that's what the podcast is about, if that's what it's all about, then go ahead. But that's not my podcast.
That's not you.
No, that's not. That'll never be me. Growing up, you're around that environment. Mm-hmm. Being from South Sac, I was actually born in Oakland. So, okay. Yeah, I knew what gangs were when I was a baby. It's right. My uncles, all that stuff. So it was always around me, and of course it influenced me. It influenced kind of, as a young kid, you see these people making money. You see these people, looking cool in these clothes and stuff. So you kind of want to be like them. But once I got older, I was like, man, those people are just surviving. They're just, what they're really for. What I think a gang was originally for is to have a people that you guys protect each other. Mm-hmm. You guys are a family with, that maybe you don't have a family. But nowadays it's like, what are you're just protecting your ego. You're just protecting what you're trying to say. Like, I don't gotta worry about that. I know what I am. I know what my words are. So that's what I'm gonna be.
Okay. So here goes part 2 of Let's Make a Tutorial.
Okay.
Part 2 is
a bunch of tutorials today. I like it.
Yeah. Your cousin.
My cousin.
Say if you have a cousin.
Okay. I was like, well, my cousins?
Nah.
You probably seen some in the Home Depot,
Yeah. Let's say your cousin. He sees what you got going. He sees every fucking episode. He loves you. He thinks you're dope, bro.
Yeah.
But he asks you, cause I gotta know, what are the 3 steps to get started into podcasting? What would you tell him?
3 steps to get into podcasting. I mean, I think the first, you got to get something. I don't know, because I started off no video. I started off just the audio. I just uploaded it. I wasn't trying to worry about my looks and what was I doing and all that stuff. So I was like, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna do the audio. Mm-hmm. But I think everyone loves a video podcast. Like, it just makes it a little bit more intimate. It makes it a little bit more like you're really having a conversation with this person. So I would say, first of all, have the balls to start a podcast, because there's gonna be a lot of stuff you say when you don't have nothing to say. Mm-hmm. You're running on those last 3 minutes of the podcast. You're like, damn, I'm trying to make this an hour. What do I say to make this people still stick around? Oh, okay, I fucking burned down this house one time. You start saying stupid stuff. But have the courage to start the podcast, first of all. Second of all, get a mic. That's all you need. You don't even need a mic. You literally, with your phone, just start recording on your phone. Start recording on some shitty headphones. Whatever you have, just start recording it. And then post it on YouTube. That's literally the best advice I could give. Just start posting. There's no like, oh, read this book and then you're gonna start seeing the world differently and then you're gonna start podcasting. Nope. The only way to start podcasting is sit down, talk to a microphone, or talk to someone. Have two microphones, whatever kind of podcast you want to do, and just start recording. Where I fucked up a lot, I think as a beginning podcaster, was trying to get out as many podcasts as I could. Get out so many podcasts, get out 2-3 podcasts a week. That way people can have all this content. But I burned myself out so fast because I had nothing to say.
Yeah.
I was on my, second month, like, damn, what do I talk about now? Just take your time, read, post one a week, and then if you're comfortable with one a week, if you have time for another one, then you post another one.
Yeah.
Build off that one podcast and just, promote it a little bit. If you want to cut it up, send some clips out, post a clip on YouTube, post it on TikTok. Right now, for me, I know it's like big to get your podcast out as many places as possible.
Right.
But when I started doing that, I started losing the quality of the podcast and the passion for the podcast. Because now I was like, damn, I gotta post on everything. I gotta post on TikTok. I gotta post on Facebook.
That takes time.
It takes a lot of time that you don't think about it. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna post it. No, you gotta edit the description. Oh, who do you want to tag? What tags do you want on there? What's the title of it? What music do you want behind it? So it's a lot of time to put into it. So just take your time. It's not gonna just be easy the first times. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna take some time, but you're gonna get used to it. You're gonna get used to the repetitions, emotions, just like anything in life. You start working something for a long time and you get those repetitions. So I don't even know where the fuck we were at.
It's okay.
How it comes back to what the question was.
Yeah. So you basically were helping out your cousin who's trying to get into podcasting.
Oh my god, this is what my podcast is all about. If you watch my single podcast, I'll go from whatever I'm talking about that day to fucking trains and Alaska and something. Like
that's good.
It's so random.
Okay, so what would you, from your experience?
Yeah,
your cousin's asking you, I'm trying to get this podcast, but give me a really big no beginner thing I should not do that you learned not to do.
A big no not to do in podcasts
that you've learned.
That I've learned is not paying enough attention to the guest and not being okay, a big no. Let me go back because that I kind of have to think about that one. But a big no that I really learned is don't be uncomfortable with silence, and that's what I've learned with a lot of stuff. Because I love comedy. I love stand-up comedy. Like ever since I grew up, I always loved Cat Williams, Eddie Griffin, a lot of George Lopez. My mom, I just remember her like playing on Pandora a bunch of random clips, and it'll be like some old Eddie Griffin, some old George Lopez, whoever it was that day. And as I grew up, I started loving podcasting. I started loving comedy. So I started studying these people, and I started studying what's their habits, what they're doing up there on the stage when they're performing, what is their little motions that they're doing, what are the signals that they're giving off to let the crowd laugh, and the biggest thing when I notice is my favorite comedians, they're so comfortable with silence. They're comfortable with just letting the crowd sit there and just thinking about what was said or what's going to be said next. And that's my biggest advice for any podcaster is just be comfortable with that silence. Don't let that silence make you nervous, because it does. Even for me, like I'm just like, damn, do I say something right now? Do I try to ask a question? Sometimes you just leave it a little bit. Someone will say something else. That person will start expanding on their previous idea. So it's being comfortable with that silence and knowing how to time it delivery is everything. I think
I agree.
As a podcaster and as a comic fan, delivery is everything. Delivery, if it doesn't even have to be funny, but if it's said in the right timing, then it's just hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's that for a lot of things. Timing is everything. Timing is everything for life.
Yeah. Like I said, I found your podcast on YouTube. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. When it comes to YouTube, what has worked for you to help you expand recently that you kind of learned?
Biggest thing, having a good upload schedule is knowing when to upload, timing again. Reels, of course, Reels is everything right now, right? Anybody who has common sense knows that people are just watching Reels, watching Shorts, watching TikToks, all that stuff. So taking advantage of that, posting that. Sometimes it feels like, I know it's part of the game and it's part of everything. It almost feels like selling out. Like I have to ponder to people to get them to see it, when I just want to release it and have people gravitate towards time. But I also know that I have to be professional. I have to be a real, this is a job. I mean, it's not a job per se, but if I'm gonna do this, I need to be serious about it. I need to think about how I can grow myself and how I can make it into my dream job, what I want to do in life. And that means playing the game a little bit, playing the system, playing the industry, going through the steps, going through the motions, and paying your respects as well, because you got to put time into the game for it to give you time back, give you your rewards.
Yeah. So from what you were saying about the industry, I'm not sure if you probably do know this. 2020 for podcasting was like the golden years.
Yeah.
2020 was really big, especially for ad revenue, advertising, people, putting ads off the podcast or letting you do advertise on your podcast. There was Blue Chew, things that
freaking ExpressVPN, ZipRecruiter.
All those guys.
You were talking about Bill Burr before this.
Yeah,
I loved his ad reads.
The way he don't care about just fucking it up. He goes, man, this sounds like some bullshit, y'all.
Yeah.
And he would lose it.
He would lose advertisers. And
he wouldn't care. He don't care. If he thinks it's bullshit, he's gonna say, look, this is bullshit, y'all. This ain't nothing.
Well, he got that type of money where he
he ain't tripping. Yeah, he is not tripping. So, if those days were to come back in advertising, and someone was to approach you and say, hey, I want you to go ahead and I want you to talk about this certain product, and the product was something that you don't approve of, but they're paying you a big bag, would you take it?
Damn, it's like you pretty much saying, am I gonna sell my soul to the devil? I don't know. See, that's the thing, because it's a give and take. As a creator, trying to get big, you're trying to get as much exposure as you can, right? Even if it's like, I remember when Joe Rogan barely started doing a podcast. I listened to a lot of old ones, and he was plugging a pocket pussy. He was plugging pocket pussies, fucking just a whole bunch of sex toys, pretty much, and. It almost felt a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning. You're hearing about freaking the new Sasha Grey, whatever. Right. But, it's part of the game, and I can't knock anyone for it. I don't think I would, I don't know. It depends how I was feeling that day. I'm not going to lie. But I wouldn't, it just depends on the product, I guess. Right. If it's like some cigarettes, I'm not gonna promote no cigarettes, but if it's like I don't think so. I don't think I would. Now that I think of it, I don't think I would, because if I'm gonna put something out there on my channel, it's something that I believe in, and it's something that I really love. So I don't think I would actually just be able to promote anything and just put it out, because I wouldn't feel genuine doing it. And that's something that my podcast is built on, being genuine, being a genuine person. So Yeah, see my thought process. That's pretty much what I do for everything. I think about the good side, the bad side, and then I'm like, all right, I'll make my decision now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't take a deal from a company called Craig's Cock Rings.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Crack Pipes organization or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it's like, all right, if it's like a Blue Chew, if it's like a Rhino pill, sometimes
that's okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
But stuff like so I mentioned this in other podcast where it wasn't mostly for the artist, it was hilarious. But if you had to advertise for a state-of-the-art Japanese sex doll,
yeah,
and they wanted you to grab the parts, as it says in the paperwork, you want to grab the parts and talk about how it feels.
Yeah,
you couldn't do it.
I mean, how much are they paying me?
1,500.
1,500. That's still a bag. That's still. I mean,
you gotta explain.
You gotta
how
explain what it feels like.
Explain, finger in there. Tell them how it feels like. Grab the chest. Tell them how it feels like.
I think I would do it. I think I would do it as a joke. I think I would do it like in a funny way. I would do it in a funny way. Well, it feels like a little bit of mac and cheese. It feels like, something, some crazy shit. I wouldn't take it too serious.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. So, how would someone get in contact with you if they want to be on In the Clouds podcast?
I mean, if you see me in person, you want to have a podcast, you have something to say, I'll get your number down and we're rolling pretty much. But if you're just a random person, Instagram is the biggest thing, That's where everyone's really pretty much contacting. Surprisingly, Facebook has a lot of people too. You'd be surprised of Facebook groups and how people are connected through Facebook. That's where a lot of new up and coming filmmakers I've seen they have their connections through Facebook. The SAG comedy scene has their own Facebook group where they post different open mics and all that stuff. So you can hit me up through Facebook, email, workwithfabians@gmail.com. Pretty simple. Yeah, man. Hit me up on my phone. You have to hit my IG up for that one though.
Yeah.
I can't just give out my phone number.
I noticed though, I didn't see you on TikTok. Do you have a TikTok?
Yeah, so I have a TikTok. I probably posted like 3 posts on TikTok. Like I said before, I want to grow what I can right now. I want to really grow, and I really want to perfect my YouTube, my Instagram. I think is my 2 biggest things. Yeah. And then once I have that a little bit more following, then I can tell people, oh, I'm on TikTok too. Oh, I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube Shorts. Well, I'll probably still post YouTube Shorts, but right. All those other platforms. I just want to get better at what I'm doing currently. Got a lot of stuff in the works, so hit me on IG. Pretty much, that's all I'm trying to say.
You hear that, you guys? You're gonna hit him up on IG. He will go ahead and do that. Yep. I'm gonna be the first one in line. Can I get on In the Clouds podcast?
We are definitely getting a DJ Lionhead about.
Hey!
Hell yeah.
Okay. I like it. Well, I want to go ahead and let the people know. First of all, get in contact with Fabian for In the Clouds podcast. Very interesting guy, and the fact that he lets you say what you want to say, excluding hating on somebody in some crazy manner, and excluding banging on somebody on his pod. But your own personal thoughts and feelings. It's cool, correct?
Yeah, that's what my podcast is about. Just seeing the real side of people, not this Instagram version where, every day I wake up, I feel like I'm gonna take over the world. Yeah, I don't. I wake up some days thinking I'm a fucking piece of shit. Yeah. I even have a reel on my thing where I literally started off, I'm a piece of shit, because some days that's what I feel like. I feel like I don't deserve this opportunities, but then I think back and I'm like, you know what? We're all humans. We all make mistakes. We're all growing. Especially me. I'm young. I don't like to say it a lot, but yeah, I'm young and I have a lot to grow. I feel like I don't want to say it, but I'm old soul. All that.
I would say the same. I would say being an OG myself.
Yeah.
I would say you do have an old soul. One thing I would say for your age, that's a great quality to have that a lot of people do not have, is the ability to look inward and say, hey, look, I'm not the greatest, but I'm learning. There's people my age who just starting to realize that, hey, I can be vulnerable, because the ability to be vulnerable is something you would learn later in your life. In my age, you don't learn that at your age. You kind of, at your age, you're supposed to think that you're the shit, and you piss excellence and all that. You know what I mean? So to hear that coming from your mind already, I mean, I know you said sometimes you be able to say I'm a piece of shit. To even start to say that at that age, that's something you would say after maybe 6 marriages. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've done a few girls a little dirty. I mean?
But I'm talking about 6 marriages. Yeah. You hit the lotto, you became a millionaire, and now you're broke.
Yeah.
And or you just got off cocaine.
Yeah.
That's kind of where you kind of like, hey, look, I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But I'm learning.
Yeah.
But the fact that you still had, issues in your life, but didn't have to go through, you're not coming off of cocaine.
Yeah.
You're not off your 6 marriages where you cheated on, a bunch of women.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think I don't know. I know where I want to be in life. And I know that if I stay with that path where I chase those things that because we all want that. We all want that fame. We all want these women. We all want everything given to us. Mm-hmm. But that's not how it's achieved. It's not achieved through, validation and through all these other things. It's through sitting down, taking responsibility of what I need to do, and doing the things with the best of my ability. It's not going to be perfect, and that's something that I've had to for sure work on. That not everything I release is going to be perfect. It's not going to be this polished thing. Some of them are going to come rough around the edges. Some podcasts are going to be totally shit, but it's about getting stuff out, because you feed the universe and the universe feeds you back.
Gotcha. This is great, man. I want to thank you for coming to Support Your Boy podcast, because you gave me a lot of information. You're giving the people a lot of information. I'm pretty sure they're going to thank you too, especially the people who are fucking starting in podcasts and thinking, they're not shit. You know what I mean? And even me, you can tell sometimes I'm silent, but I've learned. But the fact, it took me some time. So to see someone else know that, you know what I mean, at your age, it's like, fuck. You know what I mean? Yeah. I should have learned that, but at your age, I'm learning fucking now. So it's great that you have this mindset. And man, please, you guys, make sure you hit him up. And that way you can really get to say what you need to over in the Clouds podcast, man. I want to thank you for coming to Support Your Boy podcast. One last question I have to ask you. I was to everybody, man.
Yeah.
Is there a chance we can get you back on the podcast?
There is not one doubt in my mind that I would not come back on this podcast. As long as you have me here, I'll come back and we'll talk about whatever the hell is going on.
I love it.
Whatever problems we got going on, we're going to talk about them. That's what podcasting is about.
Exactly. Well, you guys, I want to make sure you go ahead and go on YouTube. Do me a favor. Subscribe to In the Clouds podcast. Follow Fabian Sanchez on Instagram. And while you're there, going to do that. And if you've never followed Support Your Boy podcast on YouTube, please do that. That way we can share this out and you could be a part of our journey as we grow. I want to thank you guys for coming to Support Your Boy podcast. You guys enjoy your night. Peace.